Welcome to From Idea to Impact, the podcast where we reflect on innovation, transformation, and sustainability. Today we are diving into a question that touches all of us. What does freedom mean in the digital age?
Every big tech leap, it seems, brings this mix of excitement and also some real pushback.
That tension is always there.
And today, we're really diving into that, specifically how freedom itself is sort of changing shape now that being online isn't just handy, it's, well, often required for basic citizenship.
It's a huge topic, and we're leaning heavily on Juliane Keller's work, Freedom in the Digital Age. It gives us some great philosophical, historical angles.
Right.
Our plan is really to pull out the key ideas, look at the kind of paradoxes of digital life and, how it subtly changes our autonomy.
Yeah, and Keller kicks off by reminding us this isn't new, right? You think back to, say, Rousseau heading off to the countryside.
Or Thoreau at Walden Pond, seeking freedom through withdrawal.
Exactly. And even the Luddites, they get a bad rap as just anti-progress. But Keller frames them as making a serious philosophical point. Smashing machines wasn't just random violence.
No, it was about dignity, about livelihoods being destroyed by these new tools. They were questioning the kind of progress being forced on them.
A critique of dehumanization, really.
Absolutely. And that connects directly to now. Our phones, digital IDs, they're the infrastructure. Governments everywhere are digitizing services like crazy.
So it makes you ask, and this is for you listening, what actually happens to someone who refuses? Or maybe just can't keep up?
And what even is freedom in this context? I mean, the Stoics talked about inner freedom, mastering yourself, regardless of what's happening outside.
A classic view.
But Keller asks, well, what if the outside stuff, like needing an app for healthcare or taxes, makes that inner freedom kind of less effective in the real world?
Right. Your inner peace doesn't pay the bill if the system requires a digital transaction you can't or won't make. Your ability to function shrinks.
Exactly. Then you have someone like Hannah Arendt, who saw freedom completely differently. Not inner peace, but public action.
Showing up, participating.
Yeah, engaging in the public square. That's where freedom happens for Arendtists. The irony today, Keller points out, is that resisting digital platforms, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, can make you invisible.
So by Arendt's definition, opting out isn't freedom. It's losing the space for freedom.
It's a real bind. And then Richard David Precht adds another layer. He argues technology is never neutral.
Okay, how so?
It actively shapes us, erodes autonomy subtly. His big warning isn't just that we use tech too much, but that the tech starts to use us by designing our interactions, our thinking patterns, maybe even outsourcing bits of our humanity for convenience.
Wow. Okay, so we're talking inner mastery, public action, and this critical awareness of how tech itself is shaping us. That's freedom's challenge today.
It's definitely multifaceted.
And that impulse to resist, to say no, it has history. Back to the Luddites again. Their fight wasn't just about jobs, it was dignity.
Yeah, their defeat wasn't the end of the story. It showed technology isn't some inevitable force. We make choices about how it fits into society.
You still have agency.
And you see that agency with groups like the Amish. They're a sort of living critique, aren't they?
How do you mean?
They choose which technologies to adopt, based on whether it serves their community values. Selective abstinence. It shows refusal doesn't have to be all or nothing.
That makes sense. Which brings us to, well, the politics of all this. Governments love digitization. Efficiency.
Right. Sure, on the surface. But Keller has this really stark quote. When digital delivery shifts from an option to a requirement, the state ceases to offer services and begins to dictate conditions of citizenship.
Oof. That hits hard.
Yeah.
It basically creates outsiders.
Two kinds, really. Those who can't comply, maybe they're elderly, live somewhere rural, don't have the money or skills. Their basic rights get tangled in digital red tape.
And the others.
Those who choose not to. Maybe they object to surveillance or just prefer life offline. The dissenters.
The weird thing about dissenting now, historically, if you objected, like a conscientious objector, you might be punished. But the state acknowledged your stance. It was a political act.
Right. Keller argues that today, digital refusal often just means invisibility. You're not a recognized dissenter. You're a system error.
You just disappear from the system, which kind of strips the dissent of its power, maybe.
It certainly makes it harder to be heard, and it raises this pretty tricky question. Who actually guarantees your freedom day to day? Is it the Constitution?
Or is it Google's terms of service?
Yeah.
Or Apple's?
Exactly. The market, these big tech companies often have more practical control over your digital life, your speech, your access than the actual government. Dual sovereignty almost.
That's unsettling. So what's the way forward for us, for you listening?
Keller suggests something like a minimalist citizen approach. Not total withdrawal, that's probably unrealistic for most.
Okay.
But consciously deciding, cultivating the skill to know what's truly a digital necessity versus what's just habit or convenience.
Asking yourself, where are my boundaries? What am I willing to trade for convenience and what's non-negotiable?
And knowing it's not just personal, it takes collective effort, demanding that essential services, justice, healthcare, voting keep real, working analog options available.
Like those French senior groups you mentioned, fighting to keep in-person services, it can be done.
Absolutely.
So the final thought to leave you with is this. Freedom in this digital age probably isn't about getting rid of tech entirely.
No, it's more about proportionate refusal, being able to say no meaningfully.
Because, as Keller puts it, every yes we give, every click, every sign up, it only really means something if we could have said no.